Thanks for joining us this evening on TKO 8 Local News. The former owner of the hot dog shop on the square in Harrison appeared before Judge Gordon Webb for formal arraignment on charges of financial identity fraud this morning. TKO 8 News was on hand for those proceedings.
All right, I'll call 2018-204, State of Arkansas versus Donald Alexander. Court is appointing the Public Defender's Office to represent Mr. Alexander.
Judge, I believe Mr. Alexander is here for the purpose of arraignment. We would waive a formal reading the information and a plea of not guilty.
Court duly notes the charges of financial identity fraud and a plea of appointing the Public Defender's Office, a plea of not guilty. This matter will be set on this court's docket on a trial schedule that will have order Mr. Alexander to reappear on September 28th. Pre-trial will be set in his case for November 16th. The plea deadline will be January 25th, and the trial will be scheduled during the week of February 4th. Those will be the dates on the sequence. So, all right. Any other matters to come before the court?
Not this time, Your Honor.
All right. You may be excused, sir.
Alexander remains in the Boone County Jail in lieu of a $25,000 cash-only bond. William Kinley of Mountain Home, who was initially charged earlier this year with exposing then a 10-month-old infant to methamphetamine, returned to the Baxter County Circuit Court on Thursday to face charges of allegedly selling methamphetamine to a confidential informant working with law enforcement in early June. The investigation into the original incident in which the infant was exposed to methamphetamine began when the child was taken to Baxter Regional Medical Center in late November of last year after the baby was observed acting in an unusual manner. The tests were conducted and it was determined that the infant girl had been exposed to methamphetamine. Currently has entered a not guilty plea to charges against him, but remains in jail on a $150,000 bond. 30-year-old Jeremy Jones of Flippin has now been arrested and charged with a felony count of terroristic threatening after he allegedly pulled a gun on one of two women fighting over cats. Officials say that Marion County Sheriff's deputy was dispatched last October regarding a physical altercation. Jones is alleged to have hit the roommate of his girlfriend in the face. He then reportedly grabbed her by the throat before getting a .22 caliber rifle and pointing it at her face while threatening to kill her. Jones was arrested Tuesday and also faces misdemeanor charges of battery and interference with emergency communications. Threatening, text messages to a former spouse, 3 children, and the former wife's husband has led to the arrest of a Mountain Home man. 44-year-old Jerry Dean Hopper is alleged to have sent the messages last November with threats to kill the individuals. His messages allegedly described the manner and the weapons that he would use, as well as his plans to travel to their location to kill all of them. Hopper was booked into the Baxter County Detention Center on Thursday morning on felony charges of first-degree terroristic threatening. Earlier this year, Hopper entered a not guilty plea to charges of kidnapping and domestic battery, filed after he allegedly refused to allow a female to leave his home and physically attacked her. He also faces revocation of a suspended sentence handed down in Baxter County stemming from a high-speed chase in 2015, ending with Hopper barricading himself in his home and inviting police officers to shoot him. About 30 citizens of the Diamond City area went to the community center last week to attend a special meeting of the City Council. The meeting was called by 3 members of the newly reconstituted council, Jim Westingnick, Larry Brown, and Rick Van Dyke. The agenda was crowded, dealing with everything from a budget resolution, since the city has no budget for the current year, and the discussion of hiring a city attorney since the previous incumbent resigned in April. The 7 action items represented various city business matters, I should say, that nobody has tended to in recent months. They were all important, but the crowd wasn't there to listen to budget talk. They were in the room for item 4, which was to accept Mayor Hudson's resignation. But despite it all, City Recorder Tina Jackson came to the front of the room and announced there would be no meeting because of lack of quorum. Stay with us. Be back in a moment. We'll take a look at some headline news from around the region. But first, here's this week's closing livestock report from Sammy Klein, brought to you by Quality Feed Grains of Harrison and Bellefonte.
This is Sammy Klein's Federal State Livestock Market News Service, reporting sales for North Arkansas Livestock Auction and Grain Forest Wednesday, June the 20th. Cattle receipts, 1991. Last week, 2509. A year ago, 1,058. Compared to last week, feeder steers $2 to $8 higher. Feeder heifers and bulls mostly steady $4 higher, except for 4 to 450 pound heifers, $2 to $4 lower. Slaughter cows steady $1 higher. Slaughter bulls $4 higher. Feeder steers, medium large ones, 3 to 400 pound, 177 to 191. 4 to 500 pound, 165 to 186, with some thin 4 to 450 pound at 189 to 190. 5 to 600 pound, 155 to 174. 6 to 700 pound calves, 148 to 155. Few 755 pound at 138. Feeder heifers, medium large ones, 3 to 400 pound, 153 to 162. 4 to 500 pounds, 142 to 153. 5 to 600 pounds, 136 to 146.50. 6 to 700 pounds, 130 to 140. Some 8 to 850 pound at 120 to 121. Replacement cows, medium large ones, and 2 to 7-year-old, 900 to 1,250 pound cows, second, third stage, 760 to 1,100 per head. From 7 to 10-year-old cows, second, third stage, 54 to 62. A few at 725 to 775 per head. Calf pairs, medium large ones and 2s, 2 to 7-year-old, 900 to 1,250 pound cows, and 1 to 200 pound calves at side. 850 to 12 per pair, with 2 to 300 pound calves at side, 1,250 to 1,400 per pair. Slaughter cows, boners, 53 to 57. High dress, 58 to 64. Low dress, 1 to 48. Lean, 49 to 55. High dress, 56 to 60. Low dress, 44 to 48. Slaughter bulls at grade 1s and 2s, 1,400 pounds, 75 to 84.50. High dress, 85 to 91.50. Low dress, 63 to 70. That's the market today. Sammy Klein reporting. Thank you.
Join Sammy Klein Thursdays and Fridays during the TKO 8 local newscast for this week's closing livestock market report. Made possible by Quality Feed Grains of Harrison and Bellefonte. Quality Feed Grains has you covered. Everything for cattle, pets, deer, equine, poultry, seed and spray, show feed, and garden. Check their website, qualityfeedgrains.com, now for this month's special. Quality Feed Grains of Harrison and Bellefonte, proud sponsors of the Livestock Report with Sammy Klein on Harrison's broadcast station, TKO Channel 8.
Say that a Little Rock Port Authority employee was killed when a train crushed him after it collided with a semi. Police say the train was backing up about 9:30 a.m. on Thursday when it and the truck collided in East Little Rock. Two Port Authority workers were riding on the back of the train and jumped off in the opposite directions just before the collision. He says that after the collision, the train overturned onto one of the employees. The man's name, has not been disclosed at this time. Port Authority Director Brian Day said in a statement that the man was a longtime employee and that local and federal agencies are investigating the accident. The murder sentence of an Arkansas man who was given life in prison without parole as a minor has now been reduced to 40 years. Pulaski County Circuit Judge Wendell Griffin has signed an agreement reducing Brandon Hardman's sentence to 40 years with credit for 18 years served. Arkansas has been resentencing people who were given life without parole sentences as a minor after the U.S. Supreme Court ruled in 2012 that such mandatory sentences for youth offenders was unconstitutional. Hardman was sentenced on a capital murder charge in 2002 for what prosecutors say was a gang hit 2 years earlier in Little Rock when he was 16 years of age. Hardman alleged at the time that he acted in self-defense when shooting 17-year-old Antoine Jones, who was a member of a rival gang. The Arkansas Supreme Court has now cleared the way for the state to launch its medical marijuana program again. Justices have reversed and dismissed the judge's ruling that prevented officials from issuing the first licenses for businesses to grow marijuana. Pulaski County Circuit Judge Wendell Griffin ruled in March that the state's process for awarding medical marijuana cultivation licenses was unconstitutional. He said the process violated constitutional amendments that voters approved in 2016 that legalized marijuana for patients with certain conditions. Griffin's order prevented the state's Medical Marijuana Commission from awarding the cultivation licenses to 5 businesses. An unsuccessful applicant had sued the state over claims the process for awarding the license was flawed. The Supreme Court ruled that Griffin did not have jurisdiction to halt those licenses. An Ohio woman and a minor died in a Lawrence County crash on Thursday night. Preliminary crash report by the Arkansas State Police says Latocia Coker of Cleveland, Ohio, was driving east on Highway 412 in Walnut Ridge around 9 p.m., crossed the center line, and hit a car head-on. She and one of her underage passengers died in that accident. The report listed 3 other minors in Coker's automobile, 2 females and 1 male, as injured in the accident. However, it did not release their ages or where they were from. The crash also injured Emily Sheets of Hoxie, who drove the other vehicle. A Lawrence County man was arrested this week after gambling machines were found in his shop. Bester Burns of Strawberry, Arkansas, was arrested on June 15th. According to the Lawrence County Sheriff's Office, deputies executed a search warrant on Burns' shop building behind his residence. Investigators found several gaming machines and contraband used to facilitate the operation of an illegal gambling operation. The machines were seized and Burns was arrested for keeping a gambling house, criminal use of a prohibitive weapon, and possession of a defaced firearm. Before we take a look at the weather forecast as we move into the weekend, here's the way the stock market ended the week. Humidity, cooler temperatures, and a little breeze out of the north-northwest at 5 to 10 miles per hour. All of those ingredients making it a very nice day here in the Ozarks. I hope you had a chance to get outside and enjoy the cooler weather with lower humidity. About 83 degrees this afternoon here at our studios. Looks like we'll have a pretty nice weekend, but we do have rain in the forecast. Kind of hit and miss, I must say. Not as strong a chance of rain for the area as we first thought a couple of days ago, according to the National Weather Service, but still a pretty good chance we may, at least some of us, get some much needed rainfall. Here's the way it looks as we move on into the weekend. Thunderstorms expected on again, off again throughout the day on Saturday. 82 degrees for an afternoon high under those cloudy skies. 80% chance that some of us will get some rainfall continuing into Sunday at least till noon, they say. So AM thunderstorms in the area on Sunday morning should be clear by afternoon. 88 degrees for an afternoon high, and again 80% chance of rain in the morning time frame. Monday, partly cloudy skies. We kick off the new work week with a warm up, 89 degrees. Tuesday, partly cloudy, 89, and Wednesday, lots of sunshine and 92 degrees. Keep your fingers crossed. Maybe we'll get some of this rain somewhere along the way over the next couple of days, but boy, it sure changes quickly. The other day, everybody thought we were going to get a lot of rain here in the immediate Harrison vicinity, and just a few drops some people got, and others got maybe 3/10 of an inch. Just wasn't quite enough. But we'll take what we can get this time of the year. Stay with us. Be back in a moment. We'll take a look at sports from around the region as TKO 8 News continues.
Crystal clear mountain streams, river rapids, and rolling hills with endless valleys. The beauty of the Ozarks we often take for granted. At Magnus Toyota, we never underestimate the value of our customers. As a third-generation family-owned business, Magnus Toyota has been operating here in the Ozarks for over 50 years. When we make a new deal, we make a new friend. Stop in and visit us today and see why our customers say we're the best. Magnus Toyota, your hometown Toyota dealer on Highway 65 North in Harrison.
J.J. Swartz hit a 2-run homer, and Florida built enough cushion to survive Texas Tech's 6-run outburst in over the 7th and 8th innings and eliminate the Red Raiders from the College World Series with a 9-6 victory. The Gators have won 2 straight following a loss to Texas on their College World Series opener and moved to the Bracket 2 final against Southeast Conference rival Arkansas. The Denver Nuggets have selected small forward Michael Porter Jr. out of the University of Missouri in the 14th pick of the NBA draft. Porter played in just 3 games for the Tigers due to back injury, which required surgery. He joins a very young team with strong nucleus that has missed the playoffs for the 5th straight season. Brent Sutter pitched even strong innings. Manny Pena homered, and the Milwaukee Brewers capitalized on a season-high 4 errors by St. Louis to beat the Cardinals 11-3. Sutter retired 12 straight after Matt Carpenter's leadoff home run. And Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred has announced that the Detroit Tigers will play a regular season game against the Kansas City Royals at TD Ameritrade Park on June 13th of 2019. That's 2 days before the start of the College World Series. Manafort says that Major League Baseball wants to strengthen its relationship with the NCAA and college baseball and also bring the game to new markets. Calgary Flames star forward Johnny Garuda is a member of a National Hockey League ownership group that purchased an equity stake in the U.S. Hockey League's Dubuque Fighting Saints. The group includes Buffalo Sabres forward Zinka Gurina, former Sabres and Pittsburgh Penguins coach Dan Blima, and Florida Panthers executive chairman Peter Luca. Gadura and Giganson were teammates on the Dubuque team that won the United States Hockey League Championship back in 2011. And that wraps up our broadcast here for this evening. Thanks for joining us. Join us Monday through Friday at 6:30 and again at 10 p.m. as we continue to bring you local news, weather, sports, and local announcements from around the area on Harrison's broadcast station, TKO Channel 8. Now stay tuned for more local events around the viewing area.